It's 2 in the morning, and you're doing it again, scrolling back through old messages, checking if they've posted, running the same loop for the 100th time. You tell yourself this is about missing them. Look closer, though. The ache doesn't have their face. It has a different shape entirely. There's an old distinction, sharp enough to cut through most of this fog, that separates what's actually yours from what never was. And in a moment, I'll show you exactly where that line falls, and why almost everything you're gripping sits on the wrong side of it. And by the end, you'll see the exact moment this stops feeling like losing and starts feeling like relief. The hand opening on its own, without you forcing it. Here's the confusion, stated plainly. You believe you want them back, but sit with the ache for a moment longer than usual, and you'll notice it doesn't have their face. It has a shape more like this. The moment you stopped being certain. The moment you stopped being chosen. The moment the outcome slipped out of your hands. That's not the same thing as missing a person. That's grief for a state you used to occupy. A position, not a partner. Love and control feel identical from the inside. Both show up as longing. Both show up as a pull in the chest. So you misfile one as the other. This isn't a flaw in your character, it's a diagnostic error. And errors, unlike flaws, can be corrected. So separate the two objects. There's an old distinction, sharp enough to cut through most of this fog. Some things are yours, and some things never were. Their feelings are not yours. Their attention is not yours. Their choice to come back or stay gone is not yours. It was never yours, even on the best day of the relationship. What is yours is smaller and steadier. Your own effort, your own attention, your own desire. Seneca put it plainly. Don't expose an unstable spirit to whatever coaxes and allures it. Epictetus built an entire discourse on the same warning, that we ought not to be moved by desire for things outside our power. Turbulence, in love as in fear, comes from one place: investing yourself in an outcome you can't command.
Now look at what that confusion does once it takes hold.
Because it doesn't stay abstract, it becomes a craving. Picture a composite case, the kind therapists hear in one form or another. Someone caught inside exactly this trap. She can't get her ex out of her mind. Everything reminds her. And here's the strange part. She doesn't even miss the woman. She despises her, thinks of her negatively, and still can't stop reaching. That's not love persisting past its expiration date. That's a nervous system addicted to a felt state, certainty, importance, being wanted, using a person as the delivery mechanism. What you want to go back to isn't what you think it is, and it will never get better. The chase has replaced the person as the thing being craved. But let's not let the thesis off easy. Is all sustained effort obsession? Of course not. Sometimes staying is the mature choice. Walking away too soon can be its own kind of running. There's a real case for commitment, that it should come from genuine desire, something you're passionate enough about that even the limiting of your future feels like a fair trade. So how do you tell devotion from the trap? Not by the size of the effort, by one question. Can the outcome you want be vetoed by their will alone? If yes, wanting it that badly is where the trap starts. The healthy version of effort is offered, not required to feel whole. And there's a second test worth borrowing. Keep your determinations, but only the ones that are sound. Lay the foundation first, then build. Here's the mechanism, laid out plainly. You want their response. You control your own attention. Confuse those two, and you build a trap that feels inescapable. because every failed attempt to secure the outcome gets misread as proof you need to try harder, when it's actually proof you're pulling a lever with no wire attached. And this didn't start with them. From the moment you were born, love showed up conditional, while some part of you kept wanting it unconditional. That gap became a permanent lookout, a constant search for the elusive good part of the dynamic, the part that felt secure. It was never fully securable, not even the first time. So tell me, where do you feel that gap the most? In romance? In friendship? Somewhere older than either? Now the turn. And it isn't defeat. Letting go of the wish to control their response doesn't feel like losing once you actually do it. It feels like relief, because the grip was never load-bearing. There's a description of this shift that's hard to improve on. The movement from tenseness, self-responsibility, and worry into equanimity and peace. And the strange part is, it usually doesn't happen by doing more. It happens by relaxing and throwing the burden down. Give up the feeling of responsibility for an outcome that was never yours. Resign the care of it. Be genuinely indifferent to what becomes of it. Not because you don't care about the person, because you finally see what was never yours to carry. So where does all that redirected energy go? Back to the one place it was always welcome. Your own attention, your own effort, your own sense of who you are, without anyone's agreement required. Not as a strategy to win them back. That reading misses the point entirely. This is the quiet return of agency itself, nothing performative about it. One person, describing their own way out of this exact loop, said it simply. They had to become their own point of origin. Not a technique, a relocation of where the center of the self actually sits. So here's where it lands. You were never chasing a person. You were chasing the version of yourself that once felt certain, chosen, in control. And you handed that feeling to someone else to hold, which is why it felt like it left with them. Put the chase down, and that self doesn't vanish along with the running. It was the one doing the running all along, waiting the whole time for you to stop. The hand was never empty. It was just closed around the wrong thing. If you've ever felt that seam between missing someone and missing the control you had, I'd like to know where you landed on it.